Chris, we've walked along the waterfront, actually away from Taksim Square to an area known as Beşiktaş, which is known for many of its upmarket hotels, many restaurants, and quite a commercial but touristy district too. And it seems that many of the protesters now have centred on one of the hotels here where police are trying to hold a line. They're trying to hold that line with several rounds of tear gas that have been fired into the crowd, and 2 water cannons have been deployed. Now, we heard from Prime Minister Erdogan, who said that he thought that many of the tactics used by the police had been, in some cases, a little excessive. It certainly seems today that they are not venturing into the crowds, but if any of the protesters try to breach that line, then they will fire back. And as I said, we've just been chased up a street, actually, as the police tried to move with several rounds of tear gas. So that feeling now is really in the air. You can see the smoke. Many of the people here washing out their eyes. People that have been caught by the water cannon themselves nursing some injuries. So the protesters are trying to move around this area, a lot of back streets. So protesters pulling back from what has become a new sort of front line in this battle, and they're trying to find their way back through some more narrow streets towards that same point. There is a bit of a lull in the proceedings at the moment. It has been pretty loud over the last hour or so. So many of the protesters now wearing gas masks with swimming goggles on their eyes to try to protect their faces. But it certainly seems that the atmosphere is such that this may go on into the night.
Well, that is interesting, and I should stress the pictures we're looking at are from a little bit earlier, and what we have seen in the last hour or so in Taksim Square is it actually calming down and the police retreating. But Ben, from what you're saying, it sounds almost as if the protesters are going after the police, that if the tactic is to retreat in order to calm things down, that's not working.
It seems from our position, Chris, that they are trying to hold a point around the Shangri-La Hotel here. As I said, the police are there with their shields up. They are themselves being protected by these 2 water cannons that are firing on anyone who gets too close. And we've also seen several rounds of tear gas fired into the crowd. Now, I think it's safe to say the protest today did start off peacefully. We walked all the way back from the Galata Bridge, which is right in the heart of old Istanbul, all the way along the coast up to the area that we're in now. Right along that road, there were people with flags, cars and taxis were sounding their horns. There was a lot of a party atmosphere in some respects, a lot of people cheering and clapping as cars went on their way, people waving their flags with Kemal Atatürk attached to those flags, shouting and chanting all the way up. But when it got to this point around the hotel, suddenly the atmosphere started to change, and that atmosphere was brought on in many respects by the firing of the tear gas from the police there, and also the use of the water cannon. So the crowd got a little angry, the chants started to get a little louder, and the atmosphere really changed. And as I said, when they started firing that tear gas, many people forced into this narrow warren of streets around this area, brought back. So that really dispersed some of the front of this protest. But as I said, also people now trying to work their way back through these narrower streets to get back to that front by the hotel.